Make sure your treasure is buried, your parrot fed, and the rum is poured. It's time to set sail on another Patches and Rum podcast, exclusively for members of the History of Pirates channel.
Welcome everyone. How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Hi.
Look at that.
Hi.
We got almost 100 people in here. I got a couple of quick announcements before we get in. This is gonna be a wild one. If you guys could do me a huge solid, since no one else on my team had the time to promote, could you go to the History of Pirates Twitter page and retweet the live broadcast, because we are officially live on Twitter on the History of Pirates channel.
Whoops.
It's the first time that it's the
Didn't
first
even
time
know.
that
Did you
we're
tag me in
live.
it?
I shouldn't have to. You know, we were going live on the show. Everybody should,
I don't know we were going live
participate.
on Twitter.
No. Well,
neither.
that was
Sorry.
I thought
Sorry.
you'd at least promote the show, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna retweet it here. And maybe that'll, if you want to watch it on Twitter. We are also live on Facebook.
There we go.
I see you guys over on Facebook.
Facebook too.
Yeah. We've been doing that. So we've been
I don't use that app much, but
but it's we've got like such a unique audience over there on Facebook.
Mhm.
So
fantastic.
yeah, we got monetized on Facebook. So we are, hold on, but yeah, look, I'll oh my gosh, I'm a mess right now. Hold on, let me show you. So everything is everywhere. So
Your
this
hat's
is us-
crooked. That's fine.
This is us on Facebook right here. Look, we already got some people saying hi in the chat over there.
Let's go.
So pretty cool.
Welcome.
And then also we are live on YouTube. But yes, we are live on Twitter. The only
We're
one
live on YouTube also?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
What?
I
That's
had
what
no
I was-
idea that one.
the one I was hoping y'all would promote. Thank you.
Oh
Just
my
kidding.
gosh.
Joking.
But yeah, that's awesome to see. We
That's
finally and that's due to all you guys. We kind of pushed the Twitter and was like, hey, can you guys get us to a certain amount of followers? And you guys did it, and here we are. So last big announcement that I need is in the pinned comment here on YouTube, or I'm sure Lulu will put it in the chat. If you could do us a huge favor, X-Wing did, head over to the daughtersrevenge.com, and sign up here. You will be the first to know about the book, about items you could get, about possible meetups,
Mm-hmm.
about a lot of stuff. We're just gonna do. That's the best information.
Coming soon.
So many people have been asking about, hey, can I buy this? Can I get that? So the very first people that will get information to buy certain things before they're sold out or be a part of it will be right here.
You get all the tasty nuggets first.
So, and you won't get spammed with anything else. It's not going to be like, Capable Gentleman's way of baiting a hook. Check it out over there on YouTube, whatever. But it's you probably won't even get your first email till next year. But we've got a lot of cool stuff to announce on that. We have the Vindicta hats and shirts from Nine Line Apparel, other things. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So thank you so much. I see Raider has just destroyed.
Oh,
Raider is just
The
blowing
chat.
it up. I'm
Again.
Raider.
trying to hold off from
Raider.
interrupting you.
I see. Let me say hi to everyone over there on Facebook. I don't want to say too much because Facebook people use like their real names. So, I'm just checking everybody out. I see people over there on Twitter. Man, we got 10 retweets. That's freaking awesome.
Let's go.
All right, let's begin. Grady.
Upgrade. He went to the future to save his girlfriend, remember?
I know. Look at that. Look at that avatar, man. Becomes a channel member. Thank you.
I love the
Oh, look at the talented artist.
Hey, Elfie's here. What's up, Elfie?
She has also become a member. Wiley
Beautiful.
Dave is a member and has been
What's up,
throwing emojis
Wiley?
in the chat.
Wiley Dave.
How you doing, brother?
Mash has
What up, Mash?
gifted a membership. Eric K says it's a good ship. The good ship Lollipop. Well, thank you for the 2.
Is that from One Piece or something?
I don't know.
I don't
No,
know.
it's a
Raider
song.
with a
It's a song.
75.83. In fact, Raider is correct here. 75 forms of torture and punishment. We
Mhm.
won't be going through all of them. Yeah.
Beginning in
There you go.
1983. So
And Wicked Virtue did her nails and everything. She went all out for the pirate stuff today. I did not do my nails.
you look dark today.
Yeah.
Brooding.
And
I'll-
Raider has given
I'll
us
say like
100 souls. Woo!
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Love it.
Gotta change that exclusively for members bit. Oh, you mean on the intro?
It's called private chat for a reason.
I retarded. And Psychotic Mongoose gifted a membership. We're gonna do like if people do 5 or more, then we'll play the little clip. Because last time, Lulu Blue with a member message. Why is Wicked on the bottom? She's royalty. All right, yeah, fine.
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Lulu has spoken.
Thanks, Lulu.
Thanks,
There you go.
There you go.
I'll be down here. There you go. Benology's in the chat. What's up, dude? I like Ben, even though other people don't. Let's see. Dylan's here. Ben. A lot of people don't like. I don't know why. He's nice.
They're very
Rachel.
mean to Ben.
Aw.
And then I went on a stream with Ben and I started being mean to him. I couldn't control myself. I don't know what happened there.
Greg.
Ben. He's nice.
My Creative Arsenal. Robert. Doug B is here. Cheese Factor. Karen.
What up?
JB. Lady Marine. Cajun Corey. Lynn Green. The Ham Hammer. That's nice. That's Benology with 2 Y's. Sorry. Fresh Pony. Hokies. Benology with a 2 says y'all look stunning today, especially Jay.
$2.
Try my best. I missed this show. Love to all. Yeah, I miss it too. I gotta do
What's
better.
up, Lady Marine?
I gotta do
Holy.
better.
I'm going to go to bed.
Whoa.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for the show. Raider
50!
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
We nearly have enough to set sail.
What is going on?
It always
Right.
happens with this show. I don't get it.
Right out of the gate.
He's trying to get enough sailors on board. We can actually get this
50,
thing going.
60, 70. Yeah, we usually need about a 150.
Mm.
So we're at like 74. We just
Incredible.
need 150 by the end of the. Thank you. God dang, Raider, what you doing, man?
Selling
That's too
soap.
much. You do everything for everybody's channel.
He does.
I'm breaking character for a moment. We love you, man. Thank you. I'll be seeing Raider in November. He's coming back to
Raider.
Orlando. So be having dinner. Lulu with a 10 says for the sacrifice, Jay.
What's up, Lulu?
You're welcome.
$9.99. Thank you,
Get
Lulu.
Raider a sword. He needs a sword.
Yeah, we gotta get him something. He's also making cool things for the Daughter's Revenge. I probably wasn't supposed to share that yet. We have
What?
100 people watching on Twitter. What the freak? That's crazy.
Let's go.
We have
Hello, Twitter sphere.
13 watching on Facebook. That's cool. And we have 225 watching on YouTube. Is that true? Or am I looking at the collective number? No, 126 watching on YouTube with another 100 watching on Twitter. I can't keep up.
Apologies for the lieutenant. He's very surprised. Very
I've been-
surprised.
Been in the sun too long. I don't know. I don't know.
I retweeted it. Don't yell at me anymore.
My favorite channel. There you go. Thank you. Thank you guys for your generosity. It's because of you. Thank you.
You're
Eloquent
Thank
as
you.
always, Lieutenant. Thank you, sir.
He's got a way with words. Yeah.
Speechless.
Well, today is an interesting day. We decided not to go with a specific pirate, but instead, to be YouTube friendly, we went with pirate punishments. A pirate punishment could be a few things. It's the punishments that happen to pirates while they're on the ship. Maybe they created a mutiny. Maybe they,
snuck a woman on board.
Yes. Maybe they ate too many rations when they weren't supposed to.
Stole from a crewmate.
Thievery, yes, absolutely. Ron Cook says it's simple math, Jay. Thanks for the 2. I'm only here because and if they got caught by the British, I can't think.
Is
I'm
Mike
like,
cut out? What?
Nah, I'm like, this
Just
is
the
problem.
brain. That's all.
I'm trying to watch every chat, and I shouldn't do this. Like 115 people on Twitter. I'm just blown away by that. Like the support for this it's unbelievable, man.
It's beautiful.
It's unbelievable. So I didn't think we would even get this, like, because like who cares about pirates, right? But here we are. And Clyde says, you know what? Now you got 83 souls for your ship.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
I lost count. Are you sure it's 83?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it's more.
Basically, we need 50. No, it's 50 from Raider, right? And then he gave 20.
Yeah.
70. We had 4 come in before, 74 plus 10, 84.
84. It's simple math, Jay.
5 cents, carry the 1. Yeah, okay.
85.
MJ becomes 85.
There you go. There it is.
Beautiful.
That's what I was missing.
Lulu corrects you. Yeah, she's that's
85.
about 85. Give or
For
take.
my ship.
85.
Now
Somebody-
get to work.
Somebody might have fell. I've got look, I could see
It was
I
probably
could
Jay.
see Facebook people in here. Can someone go on Twitter and just type on the Twitter live stream to see if that comes up just to test?
It's live. It's there. I've seen.
I know,
Twitter
but
chats come in.
like
There, I
the chat.
gotcha.
Stephen Brown said Vindicta on Twitter.
I know. I want to see if it comes in through StreamYards.
Here.
It
Then
did.
I'll do
I
that.
wrote. I said hi.
There
Look
it
at
is.
that! Woohoo! That's so cool. I'm sorry, I like it. It's freaking cool. Now I can see all the chat. Look at that. There we go. I can see all the chat in one place. Ah, there we go. All right. Anyway, back to
Happy Lieutenant.
back to the title. Pirate punishments. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Some of
today.
these too, though, I think got attached to pirates and the romanticism about it, but they didn't actually do it. If that makes sense. Some of these punishments kind of made it into pirate lore, but are never really recorded as ever happening. As with most things with pirates, they didn't keep incredible history books on these guys, so it just kind of got romanticized, but they're out there.
like murderous stuff.
Yes.
People that did bad stuff to others.
Yeah.
I see. Jonas J. Campbell for
Hey,
$2.
brother?
Says, Yar.
Good to see you, bud.
Thank you, man. There's some doozies out there. A lot of us might have picked the same one. I asked people to kind of pick one or two, and just seeing like not a personal favorite. I don't know how you have a personal favorite. Most of us know like they did a lot of hanging. That was
They were big
one.
fans of ropes. They had a lot of rope
anything that
handling.
had to deal with the rope.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is punishing people with physical torture has been around for a long time.
Mhm.
Like it's just one of those things. It wasn't until the Puritans came to America and were like, we probably shouldn't do this anymore. I mean, even some states have like banned the death penalty and stuff like that. So looking back on it from an American perspective, it's kind of like, wow, this was horrible. But during those times, I mean, like go all the way back. Jesus was crucified on a cross. I mean, go all the way back to Rome and everything. Human nature has found ways to perfect torture to keep people in line. And yet people still got out of line knowing that they would either be set on fire, fingers removed, ears cut off and eaten in front of them, tied up, choked. I mean,
Yeah,
drowned slowly. I mean, horrible stuff, man. Burned alive. I
But
mean, all
money.
that stuff.
they were. Yar.
Jonas with a 10.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, people go to extreme lengths for money. It's incredible what they do.
Well, I think the punishments, the tortures, they were message jobs. They were trying to send a
100%.
message like, this is horrible if this were to happen to you, so don't do this.
Hmm.
And yet, didn't matter.
Or for the entertainment
They're
of
pirates.
the crew, unfortunately,
So
sometimes.
you know,
Yeah.
we're talking about what pirates did on board their own ship. Not
Yeah.
necessarily if a pirate got caught, arrested, what the governments did to a captured pirate.
Yeah.
You see,
And-
so there's a difference there because pirates, you know, they're out to sea, right? They're not gonna.
But pirates also captured many of people and
Yes.
brought other people on board, and that's certainly some of the stuff we're going to touch on today is what they did to other people. But yeah, it's interesting, Jay. You know, you talk about it a lot of the times is that a lot of these guys were still heavily religious, and so murder was still something that they frowned upon, even though they would go and they'd pillage a ship and blah blah blah. That's kind of open combat. It's a little different, but murder was still a serious offense on a pirate ship.
But that's why they tried to take it right to the limit.
Yeah.
They never really wanted to go all the way. They just thought, all right, we'll only, you know, if we get into flogging or whatever, we'll only go so many times because that's pretty much as much as a human body could take, and then they'll heal up and get ready for another one.
Or
That's
infection
why-
takes over.
That's why what I'm about to share is an interesting one. I'll go first. But that's why a lot of pirates did a form of punishment or torture where they personally were not responsible for the death of a man.
Yep.
Okay. And so in their mind, they're like, as long as I'm not personally responsible
You're in the clear.
for their death, then God will not be mad at me. Nor if we get caught, I can be held accountable for this.
Mhm.
Right.
Which brings me to the first one. It's called sunning of all
Ugh.
things. This is a AI picture, of course, because they didn't take selfies back then.
No.
So one of the things that they did in the Caribbean, if a soldier was caught or they needed to torture them, whatever it was, they took the metal box, put them on a beach in the Caribbean, and let them sit in the sun on hot summer days. They just let them sit there with no water, with no
just-
food.
You're just
No
drying
anything.
up.
If it's any indication of how bad this would be, I was in the Caribbean once. I fell asleep for an hour without a shirt on. I woke up and I was a lobster. It was like 102 degrees outside. The sun down there by the equator is unbearable.
Yeah, normally they would the pirate would be naked. So this one has clothes. People are like, thanks for the clarification on AI. Yeah. But they would strip them naked, put them in a metal cage,
Yeah.
which would also heat up in the sun,
Yeah.
and they would just fry, you know?
You get blisters on your butt from that cage sitting there.
I mean, it's
Well, dehydration would be
That'd be a big one.
worse.
Yeah.
I think that would be worse than, you know, the just getting pelted by the sun because that just intensifies everything.
Ugh.
so you would just die of like thirst, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Again, this wasn't the pirate that put them in there or whoever. They weren't responsible for their death. They kind of were just like,
The sun killed him. I didn't.
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
me.
I didn't do it.
How fast, like, do you think it took them to die? Because you can only go so long without water. But this
Oh
also
man.
speeds up the process.
So I think like 3 days you can survive without water, but
Yeah.
this accelerates it rapidly.
Yeah,
I think
big
it's a
time.
horrible maybe
Probably
like
like
a
a
day and a
day.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll
Ugh.
make it through the night maybe.
Now this is
Uh,
this could
maybe more.
be
I don't
a
know.
death sentence, but is it also temporary? Did they leave him here for
Probably
they-
depended.
some hours, then swung
what
back,
I've
swung
read-
by and pick him up?
Right. They always, sometimes they left them there when they couldn't find a smaller island for marooning, and they just left them there, and hopefully somebody came to pick them up. Or if they needed to get information out of someone, they did that. One of the stories was that one of the pirates did this randomly to a crew member every now and then to keep their crew in line.
Wow.
And they let them watch this person just fry in the sun before them. Their eyes dried up, their lips dried up, and everything, begging for water. I can't imagine. I'm out walking in a theme park, and I'm like, I gotta stop. I need a drink.
Yeah.
It's like I'm dying. I'm dying of thirst. Even though there's water fountains everywhere and water everywhere, it's like I'm dying of thirst here, man. I need a drink.
Can't imagine the need for chapstick after being out there. Everything would be so dried up. Your lips would be all busted and cracked. And
Ugh.
I think, your,
said-
eye,
so
I think your
painful.
eyeballs dry up too. Like,
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. I've
Blood
always
would
said there are
thicken.
two things in this world that are no better feeling to man, that are being warm when you're freezing cold and a drink when you're just dying of thirst. Truly.
also, X-Wing, can you take care of these? Look at that.
Elfie!
Happy birthday!
What's up, Elfie? Ahoy, pirates. It's my birthday today. In Germany, it's already October 22nd, and I gave myself to you. I think it's a very nice gift. Thank you. Have fun. Shout
Happy
out, Elfie.
birthday.
Happy birthday. One of our
birthday.
sister scientists from the Bro Science over there. Good to see you, Elfie. I hope you're doing well, and looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Knights of Melvin. What's up, brother?
I love that guy.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So, sunning. That's not drying in the sun. That's not what that's probably a punishment or torture I don't want.
That's crazy that that's just a punishment, too, but you can extend it and make it an execution.
Yeah, but listen,
truly.
the thing is, like, if they let you out of the cage, like, how does your body heal from that? Like, it might
Not quickly.
It might be
Imagine-
messed up beyond repair. Some of
Imagine
your
how stiff you'd
intestines and
be.
your
Yeah.
blood will be so thick. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's awful.
I
Thanks
personally,
for the visual.
if it were me, I wouldn't use that as a means of keeping my crew in line. Like every once in a while, sticking a guy in a box like that, because they're gonna grow to hate you. They will grow to hate you because
That's how
I
you
know
get a mutiny.
personally. Yeah, if I'm serving my captain, I'm doing everything I can on my ship, and I'm doing great, and they're like, "Sorry, X, you drew the short straw. Like you're going on
into
the
the
island."
cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I hate that person forever. Now,
But
You know
brother,
what I mean?
listen, like not to get too far, and then whoever wants to go next, will just get ready and you go next. In like
I'll
hopping
go
back
next.
to the Roman Empire, or
Mhm.
even in like when the battalion was supposed to be at a certain city and they showed up 5 minutes late, the commanding officer would be like, all right, every fifth person that's in line, just walk up to the front, and they just killed them.
Yeah.
It's like you guys were all late. Imagine like your first day on the job. All right, mom, I'm a soldier for Rome. I'm a citizen. Let's go. It's like, all right, you're number 5. Off you go. That's it. Just because you were like 10 minutes late to wherever you were supposed to
See,
be.
but now you hate your lieutenant because he like stopped to take a poop. He was like, "This is going to be a long
I'm
siege.
just-
I
but
got to poop really
that's-
quick, and then we'll march in."
That's how they did stuff, man. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's how they did stuff. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. We'll go from that to a lighter punishment, which was flogging. I don't know. I mean, I guess this one's not worse because you didn't die from this one, so the sunning is still worse. But you guys were right. I didn't notice that they liked ropes so much until you
Mm.
pointed it out. I'm like, a lot of them really do involve ropes because they tie you up. So flogging, that was when they would tie you to the mast, usually, and whip you with something called cat o' nine tails.
Cat
Which-
of nine tails.
Cat o' nine tails, yeah. Which was I have the thing written down. It was a rope that was 1/4 of an inch in diameter and 2 feet long. So each one of the 9 lengths had 3 or more knots to make the whips bite even sharper. Ouch.
Mhm.
Sometimes more knots were added for more severe crimes. During a flogging, the sailor often bit a bullet so that he didn't scream out in pain, because if he did, the crew afterwards would just like make fun of him, basically calling him a girl. They use the term nightingale, but I think that's supposed to mean like, oh, you're just a girl, you're a wimp. So you're getting like whipped, and I'm sure you're just raw. And you didn't have a shirt on. Forgot to mention that. So if you
Nice.
cried about it, they picked on you. So you had to bite a bullet. You think they cracked teeth and stuff too, like biting down?
That's
Didn't
possible.
have
I
good
mean,
teeth.
yeah, it would have been
Disgusting.
either lead shot or steel shot with varying degrees. But that's actually where the old phrase "cat's out of the bag" came from.
Yeah.
Really?
Was the cat
I
of
didn't
nine
know
Cat of
tails?
that.
nine
Yeah.
tails. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Holy moly!
Barack.
No, not Barack. Brock.
Brock. Sorry.
Thank you.
What do you even do in a situation like this, bro? Get to work.
I don't know what to say. This channel gets more love than any channel I ever have, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Brock with 50 gifted
50.
memberships. So where are we at now?
50 lashings.
I lost count.
The beatings
We're
will continue until
85.
morale improves.
135.
135. So we're like
15.
20.
We're 15 away. Brock.
Yeah, 15 away.
135
Thank you!
souls.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Wow.
135 souls now, Commodore.
Shout out Brock. 135.
Aye.
Just about there.
Jeez, Brock.
We've not even started yet.
And
Would be our
there's
goal and
And
Boom!
Raider.
And there
There's
you go.
our over one. I don't know how many we have. We have a lot of people, so a couple people you can push off the slide if we need.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
records now show 155 souls.
I see a mutineer in the chat. 2 Star Wars nerds says if we hit 200, let's put X in that cage.
Sonny?
Watch yourself, lad. You watch yourself. He's got a better mustache than I do. It irritates me.
Thank you so much, Raider. Holy crap. And Raider just like must have robbed a
Boom,
7-Eleven this morning.
Boom,
I
boom,
don't know.
boom, boom. Like
Going
cannon
back
fire.
to the Cat and Nine Tails, that was an old Roman torture, of course. Jesus, help me, dear. What are you?
What's going
What
on?
is happening over
What is
here?
going on here? What are you
Fire
doing?
everything!
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Brock. Shut up. He's got the talking stick.
So Brock drops 100, Raider drops 50, 60, 70, 80,
50,
90. I think Raider dropped 100, right?
Wow.
And that makes a total of like 205.
200, 205 souls now accounted for.
Lieutenant,
Commodore.
get me my bigger ship.
This is
Be right back.
unbelievable. Thank you guys. Holy crap. I don't know what to say. Thank
This
you.
is really, really something. I feel a little bit more confident. Somehow.
205.
Wow.
If we get any more, we're going to have to do some public execution to keep people in line because we won't have room for them in the ship.
Sorry, Wicked.
Brock says, X-Wing, time for the cage.
Time for the cage.
I'll put him in there myself. Boom. There you go. X-Wing, our Commodore is in the cage. He's screaming his head off right now. He's going crazy. He's taking his hat off and throwing it on the ground. I don't know what he's doing. He's ripped his shirt off. Okay, he's getting collective. I could see. He's putting his clothes back on. All right. He's wrapping his head back up. All right, here let's bring him back. There we go.
How could you do that to me? I thought we were brothers.
That's what you get for sleeping with his sister, Commodore, over in I don't know.
Tortuga.
Tortuga.
She said she was a Christian woman.
Here we're talking about people torturing themselves to death. It's like, oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much, man. Freaking Twitter is at almost 300. Jeez. Facebook is just flying as well. Facebook is at 17. Thank you. And over here on YouTube, it's 205 people. My
Unbelievable,
gosh.
bro.
Thank you for
freaking
the
awesome.
love. Wow.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
getting back to the
vlogging.
Yeah.
flogging was
Out of nine tails.
that was another. I think it was invented before the Romans, but Romans perfected it. That's another thing that Jesus suffered. Is in the Bible. He got whipped with these cattails that were filled with like whatever they could find. I guess it changes throughout the day or throughout the years. Piece of glass, metal, maybe pieces of wood.
They would
It was,
tie. Sometimes
bone.
they'd tie lead
Bone.
balls on the end of it. Sometimes they'd put hooks on the end of it too, depending on the severity. It's absolutely horrible. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, if you didn't, they had a number of lashings that you could take before you died, and I think it was like 39 or 29 or something. Yeah, 39. But even if you survived those 39, I mean, you would die of infection immediately because your back is opened completely.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too.
What is it? I almost said Tetris. It's what infection is that you would get for
tetanus.
tetanus?
Is that what you're looking for?
You could get tetanus, go lockjaw.
Get Tetris
and just,
if you get.
I said Tetris.
nobody wants to die of Tetris.
But keep in mind too. I mean, if we're gonna talk about all that, keep in mind too. It's not like they used the cat of nine tails and then cleaned it and put alcohol on it and
No.
got it ready for the next victim. That stuff, the guts just stayed on it, and then they used it again. So now you're talking like rotted stuff. Now you're using that, whipping the next person. So there was all sorts of.
Also, it's not like you got
Tetris
crazy medical attention right
infection
after that. You know,
all over
you
the
might get
place.
lashed and then clapped in irons and thrown in a dark, danky corner. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, if you make it, you make it. I didn't kill you. The infection did.
Right.
Yeah,
and-
that's the thing.
It was also a method that they didn't use that much, pirates in particular, because most of the people that turned to the life of pirate, they were trying to escape that kind of punishment they would get from other captains and just life at sea.
Common in the Navy.
So it happened if the whole crew agreed on it. If somebody, like we mentioned earlier, they broke a rule, brought a woman on board, or stole. So it wasn't really that common. But they
Can you
did
imagine like
sometimes
they tie you up and that whip? It doesn't whip. It like grabs into your flesh and
It
then is
sinks in.
ripped.
It
and
tears
rip
it
it off,
open.
yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's not clean.
I've messed around with leather
not
whips
very
before. I could not imagine getting hit by one. You know, the towel back in the day, you get the whoosh.
bad boys always did that.
Yeah, now just
together.
imagine that, but hardened leather, and then as hard as a grown man can hit you in the back with knots and lead weights and nails and horrible.
Fish hooks. Anything.
horrible.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they probably use that a lot.
And then it just rips your skin.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would. I mean, you go into shock, right? Like eventually.
100%. I think that's why most of
numb
them
up.
died. I think
Yeah.
that's why they coined that number 39. Is eventually you just go into shock and you die.
It's
Yeah.
Wild.
What's up, Mike?
I don't.
I'd rather be hanged.
yeah,
Maybe I
in a
take my
heartbeat.
chances with the sun. It's like, well, we're in the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
if there's no bottom to the cage, you could just dig out.
There was a bottom.
There's the bottom, yeah, because they wanted it to heat up to make
If
it.
there was
more
no bottom, you
comfortable.
could just lift the cage.
They wanted sear marks on your booty.
It could have been heavy. They could put something heavy on it.
I'm kind of like.
Yeah, that was dumb.
if I'm cooking in the Caribbean,
Female
maybe,
engineers.
maybe I get
No,
lucky and it
bye.
starts to rain. Maybe it'll start to rain.
That's what I was thinking. So, if it did start to rain, you could collect some water and
Like in my
drink.
belly button and like
Yeah.
save it for later.
Couldn't you
If-
couldn't you put your feet through the cage and then pick the whole thing up and start walking around?
Maybe.
Start walking.
Yeah. Depends
Cool
on how
off
heavy
and
the
Small
cage
then-
is.
wrist, I could
That was
I
all.
don't know.
paddle.
It was all
Industrial.
wrought iron at that time, and
Ugh.
wrought iron is
Weighs
not.
a ton.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
particularly light, and I would have to imagine a human-sized cage in wrought iron would be very difficult to move.
Yeah.
It's true.
That is just. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so of the two, I'm taking the sunning, man. I don't think I want to be
Overflogging?
whipped. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm taking the sunning for sure.
yeah.
Especially if they're coming back in 24 hours, they're like, you get a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're
As
coming back,
opposed
yeah.
to we're flaying your back open. Maybe
It was
you
usually
survive your wounds.
5 days though.
If they can.
5 days.
There's no way you're surviving that, right?
no.
Maybe, like I say, like you got to take a chance. Like maybe it'll rain on you for a couple days because it is the Caribbean. You know how if you live in Florida, you know that it almost rains every single
at
day.
11 o'clock.
So yeah, you know, maybe they left with your clothes and you can get them soaked up in water. I don't know.
I would do that for sure.
Yeah.
I'd take my clothes off. And then try
We're
get
trying
them
to make it
soak and-
sound like it's not so bad, but it was
No, wait a-
pretty bad.
It was
Well, what's the
awful.
question?
They
Which
probably
one
died
do you
from all of
want?
it.
As your final, like your execution, or which one do you want and survive?
Or you have to go through.
I'll take the cat of nine tails.
Mm.
Whoa.
You know why? Because if I survive it, I'll have such respect from the crew
And some cool
You're not going to
scars.
survive it, though.
and some really sexy scars.
Yeah. You're just going to go
Six-
through 9
six big
months of
scars. Come
excruciating infection, absolutely horrible, like
You have to-
devastating, ridiculous.
If I get lucky, I'll get some rum. They'll dump it on my back and
That-
clean
that-
it all up.
You have to remember too is most of these tortures were done. The pictures don't show it, but the men were always naked because it's a form
Yeah.
of humiliation.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
first
you
you're
get on your booty,
humiliated, and
too.
everyone's like, "Look at his little willy." All right, now turn around, and we're gonna like whip you. You know, like so. Woof, pretty wild. All right, anybody want to go next?
I'll take. I can take keel hauling.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's a fan favorite. A lot of people love the idea of keel hauling as just like the most savage way to really punish someone, and it is truly one of the most extreme forms of punishment because it's one of those ones that really treads the line between execution and torture.
Hold on, sir. Second, Commodore. We have a new crew member that has just joined, and it looks like he's ironed his shirt. Welcome, King's Advisors.
What's
Well,
up?
Who made it to the chat?
You only
What have
missed
you got
two.
on your head? there?
Sorry I was
Oh,
late.
never mind. Gotcha.
He was cleaning the head.
You gotta clean the bathroom. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
I
He
was-
survived the sunning torture, and now he's here.
40 minutes late. That's 2 lashes.
We've already been given over 205 memberships.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been a wild night so far. So keel
Well,
hauling, interestingly
definitely.
enough, actually, and it's so funny, Jay, you kept bringing it up, Roman times. Keel hauling actually does go back all the way to Roman times, and in fact was likely used a lot more during that time than it was during the golden age of piracy. And there's actually an artifact out there. There's a vase, whatever, with a drawing of a man being keel hauled across the ship. And so a common misconception is that you would be drawn from the bowsprit all the way down to the back of the ship and then brought back up. But that was a lot harder to achieve because you didn't have ropes that really ran that way so
What's
much.
the picture?
That would not have that would not have been on a Roman.
That would be tough to
Nice.
do.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But
Well, just so people understand what I'll leave this. Is that okay with you? While you
yeah,
discuss it?
100%. So
You didn't pull my picture up.
This
Sorry.
would have been a bow to stern keel haul, which was less common because what was more common is they would actually tie weights to the man's legs, and then they would use the yard arms, which are those long arms that come off the side of the masts. They would weight your feet, and then they would put opposing ropes on either side. So I think Kings, you have one coming up that's similar to this.
Very
would-
similar. Yeah.
You would pick them up in the water, dunk them down, and then drag them across the ship left to right as opposed to front to back and bring them
Yeah.
back up because your chance of drowning was much less likely. But there are accounts of somebody, I think it was in the Dutch Navy. So it was actually the Dutch that used this a lot. The Dutch use this as a verified means of punishment. And so what they would do is they'd haul you up on the yard arm with, they called it sufficient weight to get you underneath the boat. And then you would be dropped into the water. They would drag you across the bottom of the boat. You would slam your head into that bottom beam that kind of supports the whole side of the ship. And then they drag you up on the other side long enough for you to catch your breath, think about what's going on, kind of regain consciousness, and then they would drag you back underneath again.
So you're saying you hit your head on the keel?
The beam that runs basically up from the rudder all the way up to, the bow. Yeah. So you would bash your head on that and then they drag you back up again. And one of the accounts was talking about it was a Dutch Navyman talking about how they used to use keel hauling and how they would sometimes extend the time that the sailor would be held up in the air thinking about it, because during wintertime, the shock would be so severe from the ice in the water and the freezing cold and bashing your head. They didn't want to deprive them of the experience. So they would drag them up in the air and hold them there for longer before they drug them back down again. So wildly, horrifically violent. You have to think there's barnacles all over the bottom of the ship.
That's just
So-
like glass, right?
They didn't claim
Yeah.
those. Have you all ever run your hands across barnacles or touched them or anything?
Well, barnacles are rough, and then razor clams, all kinds of different stuff. That's a huge thing here in
Crustaceans,
Tahoe.
yeah.
We've got razor clams. I mean, flogging sounds extremely tame comparatively.
Well, I would pick flogging or sunning over both. Like,
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
it with keel hauling? Didn't a lot of times they died on the first
Oh, yeah.
round?
100%. They
I
could
read
be
something that
knocked
you could
out.
lose
They-
heads. You could lose
Yeah.
your head. Ooh.
yeah, it was horrible.
And you're definitely
Absolutely
dying
horrible.
from that. 100%. Ooh.
So, yeah, it was meant to be a torture, but another one of those ones where, yeah, you're probably gonna die. You're gonna die. I don't know
You're
if I
dying.
could survive that. You know what I mean?
No.
Bro, that's
Maybe in
just
warm
like,
waters, and then maybe if your wounds heal, but I'm doing like a 5%
Yeah,
survival rate. on
Maybe
that.
like once.
yeah, but you saw that picture I pulled up. It was like
Mm-mm.
there was like
Yeah,
a
they
shark
had the
there, and
blood
there
coming
was
out of
like
it.
Looked like Sea of Thieves.
Now, are you at sea? Like, are you sailing while this is going on, or do they
100%.
furl
I'll
the
pull the-
sails
I'll
and
pull
put
the
the
picture
ship
back
at
up.
drift?
No, they're doing that at sea. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know that there's a mandate as to how you do it, but I would imagine the hauling.
I mean, there's like
that-
sharks under the water and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, could you imagine? You got to deal with first. You're gonna get cut up, so you're gonna bleed. So possibly yes, shark. Then you gotta hope that you can hold your breath. Then you're being cut like razor to pieces. Then you're being like hung up. That's insane, man. The thing
It's
that human
horrible.
body can
Yeah.
take, you know.
and
The current-
people
if
did
you're
survive
if
it.
you're sailing too, like if you're going a few knots, there's a current of water hitting you as well.
Yeah.
That's gonna put some pressure on you.
Yeah, personally, I can't imagine really many worse ways to go. Drowning's one of my big ones. Burning is the other one. Those are like my two. You know what I mean? Falling from a building, whatever, you know, it's going to end quick. Getting drugged through the ocean underneath a boat as you're lacerated darn near to death by people who are laughing at you on the top deck is horrible.
Yeah.
So I've got one that kind of mirrors keel hauling. It's called ducking by the yard arm. And this is if Jay wants to share it, this is a
Yep.
picture of that. So basically what would happen is you would have a rope attached underneath your arms, almost like a harness, tied around your stomach.
It's not a great
And then
picture.
you would literally be lashed over the arm, the yard arm, which is just one of the where the sail is. I don't really know how to describe it better than that. And then dropped into the ocean as if you're a yo-yo. You'd be dropped into the ocean, picked back up, dropped back into the ocean, picked back up until they decided basically that, oh, okay, he's had enough. Which in my opinion is maybe two.
Wow.
Do you
that could be
remember
two of
in
those.
Tropic Thunder when Ben Affleck keeps getting dunked in the water? He's like,
Mhm.
"Cut! Seriously, cut, guys!" And you just get dunked over and over again. It's like waterboarding. It's like drowning.
It doesn't. I mean, it definitely is not as bad as keel hauling. Now, depending on probably like the size of your ship and maybe
Can you say that?
where they put you on the arm, you know, you're probably hitting the ship or hitting the side of the ship and getting cut up as well. But it's not fun.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's
Did
what
I
I'm
say
saying.
Ben Affleck?
Like,
Sorry.
No, it's not as bad as. Would you rather have keel hauling or you want to be dunked by your
again,
neck
drying
like a
out in the
yo-yo?
sun still seems like the best option. If they're like,
Yeah.
which one are you gonna pick? I'm just saying, like, to get tortured like this, a lot of it had to depend on like what the captain, you know, there's probably like
Exactly. And
sick captains out there that just love to see human
we talked about
nastiness going on.
which one was it? Y'all are gonna yell at me.
Are you talking about Ned Lowe when he did this?
No.
But instead of dropping him on the water, he dropped him on the deck 6 times.
So we talked about Stead Bonnet.
Oh
and one of the big things that it was a big deal for him was that the fact that he was made captain, because as we talked about, in order to be captain, you basically you know it wasn't like the Royal Navy. You didn't get a piece of paper from the king that said he's the captain now. You got the approval of the people below you, and a lot of these tortures had to basically be okayed by the group. Like you kind of had to do almost like a straw poll, like, "Hey, keyhole. Okay, yeah. Hit yard arm. Okay, we'll do yard arm." Like it was a lot of like approval by the group, and so in my idea of it, or my thought of it, is like how bad does someone have to mess up, or how bad does everyone else have to hate that guy for you to do some of these things?
Well, Keelhaul would have been murder or something close to a capital offense.
This is what I'm saying. It's like knowing that those things are out there, and we've only talked about what 4.
Yeah, there's a lot more,
and it's like, why would you want to mess? Like, why would you? Is it worth it? Like trying to.
Well, and y'all did you did a video a while back about how pirates, they were still very religious to the point where they wouldn't kill. They wouldn't unnecessarily.
Yeah, we talked about that at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah,
you're late.
So if I had been here on time.
Yeah. You're right. We did.
but a lot of these things seem like, I mean, flogging and sunning are basically the only tortures, punishments, etc., that I've read, at least, that wouldn't most likely result in death.
I think keelhauling pretty much 90% of the time.
Yeah, and 90 might be low. Like it's, but it seems weird that they were so, let's say, superstitious that they will maroon so that they don't actually commit the act of murder, but they'll keyhaul, even sunning, hanging by the yard arm, all that, which is pretty close to just killing.
Well, in order for like of that, from what I was reading, those type of things were done if someone broke the law or an agreement, which they had the right to do. So if they followed the law and it's like, hey, if you killed another man on the ship for whatever reason, then you're going to get tortured. And like, if you didn't settle it so like there were things, that they did.
You're talking about the code of conduct of the ship, not the law.
Yeah.
They're pirates. They're always breaking the law. But
well, that code was like that was their Bible, You signed that thing over. There was another, if Dylan's got a good question, but before we get to the answer, one of the crazy things that happened is that many of the pirates or people that worked on the pirate ship that signed these codes. So here's what happened. So, Commodore down here is down on his luck. He lost his ship. He wants to get back out on the sea. So he's in some tavern and a guy shows up, and he's like, hey, I'm getting a ship together. We're going to go out and we're going to do some stuff. Sure. I want to be part of your ship. Well, contracts were given out. So everyone it wasn't just people just jumped on the ship. There were contracts. So everybody signed a contract. You're going to get this percentage. Here are the rules you have to follow. This is what we expect of you, et cetera, et cetera. Now, a lot of these pirates couldn't read or write, so they signed with an X or just a letter or whatever, but they had the contracts. And wildly enough, that some of these contracts in the fine print, you now become a piece of property. So if the captain didn't like you and they ended up in some sugar plantation, they could take those contracts and go, here you go. Didn't matter the color of your skin, didn't matter anything. They're like, hey, take these 6 guys. And now you're literally a slave until that owner that has those contracts says, okay, now you're free to go. Now you're on some weird island. You don't know where you're at. You're scared. You're alone. You might not speak the language. And it's like, okay, you did like 3 years. This contract is you're free to go and you never got paid. It's like, that's insane, man. That could happen as well. So as far as like a punishment, but does anybody have an answer for Dylan's question?
No, no one was off limits. It was true democracy.
I don't know.
100%.
I
But
feel like I read that there
hold
were
on.
people.
There is something like this that did happen.
Mhm.
There is something like this that did happen. There was a mutiny brewing on I think it was Sir Francis Drake's convoy as he was headed to South America. There was a mutiny brewing, and so what did he do? Laid false claim, had him yeeted. He was gone, got executed. So he was not what's the word I'm looking for? Absolved.
Absolute?
Absolutely.
He was not absolutely safe from we'll just go with that. He wasn't absolutely safe from the idea of being persecuted for these crimes. But if something was coming up and somebody was drumming some kind of accusations against him, he could just have him killed right off the bat because he's the captain. And so
Well, who do you need? Like, I mean, X-Wing, you're the captain.
Commodore.
I'm sorry, Commodore.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're
right
out to sea and there's people acting up. Who are you saving? Who are you keeping? What's your command?
If I'm a crewman?
No, you're the Commodore.
Clearly the guy that knows how to drive the boat.
Who's attacking
exempt?
us? What's the
By your command, who's exempt from
No
these
one.
types of? So you'd kill your doctor
Yeah.
and run that risk. You kill your
100%.
helmsman.
Well, I mean, I should be able to helm the ship if I'm the captain, right? I
Yeah,
should be
fair,
able to helm the ship.
fair.
So
The cook?
if the captain was, or I'm sorry, if the doctor was doing something that violated the code, absolutely get rid of him, and then we'll make dock at the nearest port, and we'll find somebody else with medicinal skills, and we'll bring them on board. Because if you don't follow that code, you set precedent for everyone else on your ship to sow seeds of
And
mutiny.
let's be honest.
Yeah.
Doctors back then did one thing. Hey, doc, I got a little infection on my finger.
Cut it off.
It's coming off.
Cut it off.
And then we're going to rub mercury all over it. Like, that's pretty much it. My knee hurts. Let me look at it. All right, get the saw. Hold him down, everybody. Wait. No, man, it's just a cramp. It's coming off.
Yeah, but what about wiener problems like the clap or whatever? They had to go through that stuff
They
too.
injected mercury.
Yeah.
I would
You've
legitimately
been to the
never call in
museum,
sick.
You know what the thing looks like.
There's a reason it's called the
I'm
call.
never calling in sick because it's more dangerous to go to the doctor than it is to actually work.
Yeah.
They're like, what's that? You got a headache?
Like, even like during
Let
the
me get my
Civil
drill.
War, it was like,
That's what we know today. But back then they didn't know that. They put their trust
true.
in their surgeon, in
Yeah.
their doctor. So they're like, man, we gotta have him. We gotta have him.
And you want to talk? We were talking earlier about the whip, the cat and nine tails, about how it like leftover blood and everything. The doctor's office probably was worse.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably like,
Oh yeah.
what the heck is left on that syringe there? Oh, don't worry, we took somebody's eye out, but you'll be fine.
We cleaned it with mercury. Yeah.
Let me just stick it in here. All right, another pirate punishment.
Sorry, I'm reading Dylan's follow-up question.
Oh.
Oh, okay. There you go.
No. I mean, the pirate crews were very small.
Yeah.
Pirate crews were very, very small. The only place you might see that is something like on a ship of the line, like on the Victory, but those are all so well regimented.
And the
everybody
reason
has
they
their
were
job
so
and everything
big
they have to do.
is
Yeah.
they needed the gun crews. The gun crews made up the majority of military naval vessels.
Doc,
So-
have a headache. Get the spoon.
Yeah, get the drill. We need to relieve pressure.
Wasn't
I mean,
there,
listen. The truth is, if you're on that pirate ship, you were probably it was filthy. There was probably
Oh, yeah.
all, like if a rat bites you, everybody got like the plague. I mean, it was just The
Yeah.
fact that people got scurvy is insane. You know, all you gotta do is like have some lemonade or something.
Eat an orange.
Lemonade.
That's like squeezed lemons and some
Did
water.
you know that's
and
how
then-
limey came about? That limey bastard.
No.
They went down to Australia and New Zealand, and they didn't have any other citrus fruit they could get, and they got limes. And so all the English sailors became limeys. That's how you find the limey bastard.
Is that
The
true?
more you know.
Yeah.
I thought the word was blimey.
Well, blimey's different than limey.
Oh,
Firing a cannon with no ear protection. How the heck they hear anything? Yeah,
They
Oh,
did.
he didn't.
I can't imagine they could hear
Could
anything.
you
Yeah.
imagine them talking to each other like, huh? What?
Well, that's why they had. That's
Everybody's
why there were like
yelling.
9 people to relay orders. You had the captain that would stand at the end of the ship and yell, "Fire!" Then
He
you had
yells at the
lieutenants
person
that-
next to
yeah,
him.
Literally, you had the
Fire!
lieutenants
What?
that sat at the bottom of the deck and yelled fire. You had the captains of the gun crews that would sit next to the cannons and yell fire at the dude with the fire stick, and then he would also yell fire.
They
So
use
you had, like,
flag. I also
you
read
had
that
the delay.
some ships use flags too, like rags, like red flag and
Every ship you sail,
or like
yeah,
a
they-
cloth
yeah,
or
sailing
something,
flags.
Flags
Yeah.
were used to like dictate messages to other
or
ships.
other
as well.
ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you look at any of those old paintings, you'll see the big flag that designated where they were from, and then you'll see 6 to 8, up to 10 of these little signaling flags that would tell other ships in the line, what do we have to do?
they're like
Go
pennants.
watch Horatio Hornblower. You will learn a lot of stuff off that show.
So one of the pirate punishments for lying to a captain or an officer was
Ooh.
called, of all things, sweating, like
Yeah.
sweat. And this was a unique one. I don't know why they called it sweat. I guess because the guy sweats a lot. Basically, they took the person who got caught, they tied a rope around his waist, and then tied it around one of the masks where he could only run around the mask in a circle. They would then get a guy with a fiddle or a musical instrument and begin to play, like, I don't know, yeah, like some fast-paced song.
It's called
you
a
know,
jig.
and the guy would run for his life while the other crewmen stood around and tortured him. They poked him with swords. They threw fire at his face. I mean, it was brutal. They apparently they weren't allowed to punch him like with their hands, but they were allowed to use like anything to like stick in his skin. And this punishment wasn't used to kill someone. It was to teach a lesson. So while he was running, while the guy, so it's like then the fiddle would stop and no one could hurt him. So then he'd get a break to catch his breath, and then Devil Down to
Like-
Georgia.
Deadly-
So it's like
Deadly musical
the
chairs.
shooting at the feet to make them dance.
Yes,
Make them
exactly.
dance, yeah.
Exactly. But these people would get their eyes poked out. Severe injuries to them, but they weren't allowed to be killed. So this is what it was called, and so they just kept running around for the enjoyment of the crew, I guess, being out there for so long. And of course, the person was also naked. So just trying to put a vivid picture in your mind, like that's what they would do. So they would see like that big guy there is going to stab me, so I'm going to like dance around back here with King's advisor because he's really bad at swinging the fire thing at me. So we go back and forth, and then the fiddle would stop, and then the captain would be like, "Okay, that's enough." He's either learned his lesson or whatever, and that's the end of it. So
Some
Then
people
you just
think
get
this is-
exhausted.
Yeah. Well,
sweating, I
you're
guess
sweating.
that's where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people think this is the origin of running the gauntlet, which I think is interesting. So sometimes instead of just running around the main mast, it would be running through a line of of your sailors on the top deck of the ship. So running the gauntlet, because that phrase wasn't really popularized until the 1770s. And so when this would have happened, it would have been early 1700s, late 1600s. So another interesting one. Cat of nine tails and running the gauntlet.
It's
Possibly
interesting that
good.
that's a punishment that started in piracy and moved to the Royal Navy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the
Saw a
Swedish
lot
and
of the other
English.
direction, but not much of that direction.
I don't know. Would that be one you guys want to try out?
No, I think I'm
I
good.
mean,
Thank you.
more than keel hauling, yeah.
Well, obviously, yes, but I knowing my luck, I'd probably trip or something, and then they'd poke my eyes out.
Have you
That'd
ever
be
seen
the
the in the Tough Mudder competitions, they have the tasers hanging down, and you have to run through the tasers and get to the other side and get out of it? Have you ever seen
No,
that?
I'm not seeing that.
Okay, so it's a Tough Mudder thing. They hang a bunch of wires down, and you have to run through the wires, and they tase you as you're running through them. This one guy runs through it, and somehow the taser wires get wrapped up, and it grabs him around the neck, and he
Oh, my-
swings out and swings back. That would be Jay when he ran the gauntlet.
probably.
100%. Yeah. It's like a National Lampoon's.
It's
love
just like getting like these the things that we're talking about today, these punishments, where like people saw this type of stuff on a regular basis. Children saw this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They brought everyone from the town, during this time into where the courts were to watch someone get hung or their head cut off or whipped or tortured or set on fire, and it's like, don't mess up, or this is what's going to happen to you. Let's set these people on fire, or let's hang them, like in the court, like so everyone can. We want to make sure the kids are watching so they know not to mess up either. It's kind of
Right.
when you compare it, like I said, to like America today, where I couldn't imagine like the outrage,
Well, there's
Well, it's
nothing
kind
public
of-
anymore in punishment.
Yeah,
Today.
it's kind of like almost puritanical.
Well, if
Yeah,
you live in California, you could steal without even getting,
in New
Right.
York. As long
like
as it's
without
below
even being
$1,100.
charged. But
But all
Yeah.
you know is that somebody is going off to prison. You have no idea what prison's like. Do they put any of that stuff out there for people to see? And
Not beyond like the Scared
No.
Straight TV show.
right, entertainment stuff, right?
Yep.
They're not putting anything like that out publicly. These were all messages, all
Yeah.
warnings to everyone. Don't do this stuff, or this could happen to you.
They usually would put you on the front of the ship afterwards too, as a warning. Well, and for some of them, I guess if you died, if you didn't.
A lot of
well,
the
maybe if you
since we're in Pirates, like William Kidd and others, they were hung and just left out there for the birds to pick off,
Mhm.
just to eat them. That's why there's no graves,
That's that-
you
it's
know,
that
you can't go
scene,
visit.
that scene at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean when Jack's sailing in and he takes his hat off to salute the pirates that are just hanging there.
They're just hanging
Right.
there and they're in
That's
their bones.
The message. Now there is one, if I may, for just a couple minutes,
Yep.
one that I found called mutilation, where as a form of punishment, they would cut parts of your body, like cut your ear off or cut your part of your nose off or something like that. Now, here's something that could potentially be kind of the middle ground, right? Because yeah, you losing something, but you can live fine without the top of your ear or your earlobe hacked off, right? So would you want to do something, go through something like that as a punishment rather than sunning, sweating, cat o' nine tails? The others are just a given death. You're not surviving keel hauling or the yo-yo thing that King's brought up, but mutilation, would you have some of your nose hacked off or your ear?
I'd
Well,
rather just
one
follow the
that
rules.
I think it
Yeah.
was either Edward Lowe or Charles Vane. One of them
Lips.
The Portuguese captain? Yeah, this
that
is
was
Ned.
the Portuguese captain that had his
That was
lips
Ned
cut
Lowe,
off.
and it wasn't the captain. So
Ned
if
Lowe.
you go all the way back to the Ned Lowe video that
Yeah.
I did for Jay way back in the wow,
Whoa.
get to work.
Whoa.
Mr. Reese.
What is this? The 50 gifted membership, and I did see Spirian drop one before. So thank you, Spirian. We were just in the middle of a conversation and stop. What the heck is going on over here?
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
I believe
What are
that
we-
brings us to 256 souls coming.
Dang,
Mr. Reese, thank you.
We can
so
outfit
much
the
for your
fleet
Wow.
now.
generosity.
Mr. Reese, so anonymous with the Mister. It's like a Bond
I don't know
villain.
what to say. You guys have just been so generous to this fun channel that we have here, and I I am just blown away by everyone's generosity and just hanging out.
That's crazy cool to see.
It's like this was a 50, Brock was a 50, Brock was another 50. We had Raider with a 50. And Raider before that drops a $75 plus super chat, another 20. I mean, it's like
insane.
And everybody else that gave too, it's like, and there's Spirian. Wow. I'm just
I want
away,
everyone
man.
using the emojis in the chat, the gift emojis. There shouldn't be anyone in here that doesn't have a membership at this point.
Jeez. Now,
but
going back to mutilation.
Yeah, it was the Charles Vane video.
You tell your family, it's like, hey, I got to go on a ship for a year. We're going to make some money and come back. And they come back like, what happened to your face?
Dad? Your ears hacked off.
Your ears gone. Like
you're missing your nose, bro. What happened?
Your bottom lips
all orange.
So it was Ned Lowe on the ship. He found the cook. It wasn't the captain. It was the cook. He took the cook and he cut his lips off and cooked him in front of him and made him eat him.
He made him eat him, yeah.
And there was a quote there that said he was a greasy fellow that looked like he'd fry well. And so he cut off his lips and fed him to him. Horrifying.
How do you eat your own lips, man? Like, did he put like a gun to his head and like?
Oh, absolutely, assuredly. He probably just watched 6 of his children die in the worst way ever.
Just pull the trigger. I'm not doing that.
The Crypt Keeper.
And that's what you got to live with. But yeah, I'm almost like, let's just pull the trigger. It's been a good run.
How do you?
Let me show you something.
It's all tea.
Wiki, do you want me to show that now?
Bill.
Is that what you want me to do?
Well, you can. You don't have to, but I thought you might want to show them what the
lips might be kind of good.
Yeah, this was the torture that Wiki was saying, that 10 lashes, 9 tail. That is just, and in those knots is where they put like nails, fishing hooks, glass.
So it was very much the same scourging of Christ.
Oh yeah. Different time period with different things. Having fish hooks in that. That's just,
dude. Have you ever gotten hooked by a fish hook? It is the worst. It is literally the worst.
Because you've got to when you get hooked, you can't go backwards. You got to push it
barb
forward.
on it.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's gross. And then it's like, excuse me, King's Advisors, you were caught eating somebody else's portion of their food. Please stick your hand out. We will remove 3 of your fingers so you can not have the spoon. It's like,
I thought you were
okay,
actually calling me out.
Well, I called out everybody else. I called out everybody else before, so it was just like.
This is actually, before we move on to the next one, because I'm sure somebody has something else, I have to give an honorable mention to Ned Lowe for the pious man torture. So this is one that Ned Lowe did. He had I don't remember who it was. It was probably Portuguese. Ned hated the Portuguese. Had him kneel on the deck and then dipped a twine in like a tallow and oil, wrapped it around his hands so that his hands were like this with twine all the way through them, and then lit it on fire and made him sit there as the twine burned.
Man.
Horrible.
That guy was just psychotic, though, man.
Ned Lowe was bad, dude.
He just loved to.
He made Blackbeard look like a mamby-pamby. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's
Blackbeard had the name.
Opinion.
Ned Lowe was just freaking crazy.
Ned Lowe was sick.
Was he the guy that ripped out someone's heart and ate it in front of him too?
No, he fed it to someone else. Actually,
forced them to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on a second, crew.
Kalima.
Yeah, I know. You eat it. That's your brother's heart. Take a big bite before I kill you. Oh my gosh. Now, before we get into the next torture, if you guys would do us a favor and go to the pin comment, and mods have been sharing this as well. If you would like if you want to be first to know about information of the Daughter's Revenge, we will be sending emails out. You won't be getting a ton. It'll just be strictly for this graphic novel book. Things that we're going to be selling with the book, special things that once they sold out, they're gone for good. So you'll be first to know. We ask you just to sign up on our mailing list here so we can build that up. and you'll be first to know. We've got the 9-line hat and shirt combo coming out soon, maybe at the beginning of the year. You might be one of those people that want to get the sword, be the first one to bid on one of the custom swords that
We're
actually
gonna have some extra videos, 1 or 2 videos that will come out about the swords. We'll send there first.
So you got to make sure you're in the know and all these things that are happening. There will be like special meetups. There will be times where all of us will be at different cons and stuff like that. So be the first to know. Sign up for that today. We appreciate your support. You're absolutely gonna love it. And if you don't know anything about it, just a little quick video here.
Stormy, pilfery, filches, and drink up the oddies, yo ho. Marauded, embezzle, and even hijack. Drink up the oddies, yo ho. Yo ho, yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
Boom. There you go. Thank you guys for your continued support, especially today. All the gifted memberships and super chats and just
Crazy.
being here. We have a total of almost 700 people combined with Facebook, Twitter, being live on Twitter for the first time. It's insane. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, who's next?
I'll bring up a small one that was in the Indian Ocean. Pirates were so numerous that they would brand people as a punishment with a P on their forehead with a red hot iron
With a what on their forehead?
with a P.
Oh,
P for pirate.
Oh, got it.
It might be tomorrow. It's definitely this week. We don't have a saw. We've been testing the website all day to see if it would hold and make sure everything would work. But and if we get the green light from everything, Eric July might drop it tonight at midnight if all I know. So anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, they kind of brought it up in Pirates of the Caribbean where he had the brand on his wrist, and it was like, that's not where they put that. It was more like Inglorious Bastards. They put it where
No.
you couldn't hide it.
I love
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, but a lot of that was dramatized for Hollywood
Yeah.
or changed.
Why would
Can
you
you
brand
imagine
someone where they can hide it?
walking around your whole life with a giant P on your forehead,
Yeah.
or I'm sure they would stick it here as well because see, I could cover my forehead with my hat,
Yeah.
but still,
I would have just walked up to the barmaid and been like, on my planet, it means hope.
I would have done. I would have just cut that thing right off.
That was
I'd rather have a
weird
big
joke.
scar. Hey, look, it's Jeremy, the Mick manager.
Hey, what's up?
Hail.
I heard he moved to Culver's.
He's back to McDonald's thanks to Donald Trump.
There you go.
Thanks for the $2. I love that. I love that avatar so much. It's so good. Anyway. So yeah, branding, mutilation, whips. The one pirate punishment we don't really talk too much about because we don't even know if it was real was walking the plank.
Oh, you stole my line.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Wicked, was that it? Was it just the branding? That was it?
Yeah,
real quick?
that was it. Not much
Okay.
to it. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, walking the plank is a really interesting one because we don't have, again, I feel like I beat this to death sometimes. We really don't have any record of it being used much with pirates at all. Maybe 1 or 2, but definitely not something that was used consistently for any reason. There are records of actually, believe it or not, British naval vessels using it more than there are records of pirate ships using it. But that could just be because we didn't record what happened on pirate ships so much. But there is a rumor out there that before pirates became too keen to it, to test if a sailor was lying whether or not he was drunk, they would lie a plank on the deck, blindfold him, and make him walk on the plank. And if he fell off the plank, they knew he was drunk. And that was about the extent of walking the plank. Other than that, there's 2 other accounts that have occurred of English naval vessels using it. And one of them was actually a mutiny where they made the officers walk off the plank and then admitted to it later in court. And another one was actually the death of a woman. They sent her off the plank. And as the story goes, the man who recounts the tale says she stepped off it gracefully as if stepping off of a carriage. And after surfacing again, looked at everyone in the crew and smiled as if thanking them for letting go of her pain before sinking to the deep, never to return.
Wow,
That's wild.
dramatic.
What would be
Yeah.
the point of walking the plank?
It's psychological torture that's fun for the crew. That's
so with all the other stuff that we talked about, in my opinion, that would seem boring. Why not just
that's what I'm
just
exactly.
give them a heave ho and throw them over and you're done? Why sit there and watch them?
That's probably what
walk
happened
out?
most of the time. They just hucked him over the side.
Yeah.
Right. So romanticized a lot. Probably didn't happen all that much, but I suppose if you were, bored, you could. It's kind of like what's that VR game they came out with, the plank or whatever it is, and the VR people would try to walk out on the plank in the VR.
Oh,
space.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was like
so
a
exactly like that.
tightrope type thing.
You blindfold them and then you laugh as they like spend their last moments, basically scared and trying to figure out where the wood is before they die. That's pretty much it.
It was probably romanticized more in movies because it was more cleaner. Like think of like Peter Pan, like that's way more kid friendly than like keel hauling or something.
Star Wars.
So
Happened in Star Wars. They made Luke walk the plank.
Oh yes, that's right. In
Oh,
Return of the Jedi.
I wasn't sure what you were referencing. I was like, what are you talking about?
And he did this amazing
The
like
big springboard.
Best
springboard
scene
came
in
back.
Star Wars.
little
Yeah.
flip,
Tale as old as time.
reached up like the Statue of Liberty, got the old green saber.
See, like to me, I would think that if they did do something like that, they would chum up the water, and they would watch the guys like be ripped apart by sharks. But then again, they could do that with dunking or everything else that we've mentioned. They could just do that instead of just throwing somebody overboard. So
I think it's it's highly romanticized because of the two incidences or the three instances, if I remember correctly, in Treasure Island. And
yes, Treasure Island made it a thing. Yeah,
and then I think it's mentioned a lot in what's his name is Peter Pan books. So I think it's just one of those things that it's just kind of taken out of this random rumor about pirates that RLS just made into a big part of a story.
I agree with Wicked though. To make it a Hollywood thing, like walking the plank is the less gruesome. And it's like, yeah, we're bad. Get out there on the plank and just jump in the water. It's like, so that would be perfect to film. Like there's no blood involved or anything like that. No one's getting stabbed. So let's turn this into like a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't put keel hauling in Treasure Island.
Oh no, absolutely not.
No, you do bootstraps. Stick some chain shot on him and throw him over the side. He's gone. The pageantry is really the thing with walking the plank. It's pageantry. That's all it is. If you wanted to get rid of somebody and just strap them up with a cannonball and throw them over the side.
Right.
Yeah, I think that. I think that was probably more. I think that was probably more common than anything. Just like, here, hold this cannonball and push, off you go. So they still do that today. Some of the mafia types.
Yeah.
So
Sleeping with the fish.
That's it. Grand Potato for $5. So walking the plank is like a quick draw duels in westerns. No real record of standing at X amount of paces and then shooting.
That was English. That wasn't.
Yeah, back to back
all over England.
Number of paces, turn and shoot.
100%. The Gentleman's Duel. That was all over the place. Yeah. But in Western times, nah. You say something stupid.
Yeah. Now I want to get to probably the most popular pirate punishment. Maybe hanging might be the most popular one, but this one is talked about a lot. It's marooning. This is a world famous oil canvas. I believe it is in the Bahamas in their pirate museum. And another copy, I can't remember. I don't think it's in the St. Augustine Pirate Museum, but I think the original is in the Bahamas. And this is called maroon. If you look up marooning, this picture is everywhere. You can buy prints of this and everything else. Marooning was, in a lot of cases, probably one of the most slow death, gruesome things that you could do to anyone, because you drop them off. And I'm going to say that the land that this particular pirate is on is a little generous, because most of the time it was like sandbars.
Mhm.
And when
That
the
is a
tide came,
sandbar.
when the tide came in, the water would probably, they'd probably be standing on their toes, like breathing, and then the tide would go out, then they could sit down. So it wasn't just a constant laying. Of course, I'm sure they might have found a couple weird islands, and they just dropped them off. And then they the rumor is, or the story goes, that they gave him a gun with one shot in it, and that's supposed to be for you to take your own life. Now, the reason why that was a crazy thing is because you go back to the religious factor, is that many people still were following, religion to a certain T, and suicide, it was an
Big
instant.
no.
Yeah, that was an instant ticket to hell in their mindset.
Mortal sin.
So you never did that. So it's better to die in battle, better to die in glory, better to die, and then you would be in heaven with Jesus. And then if you self-deleted, you wouldn't, no matter how good of a person you are or whatever. That was taught, that is the sin that could not be forgiven, because you did it and then you died. So, et cetera, et cetera. So they would sit here starving to death, dying of thirst, and having a way to end their pain, but probably not wanting to do that. So it's mental torture,
Yeah.
physical torture. I mean, all wrapped up in one, and you're alone. I mean, I don't know.
Dude, it's horrible.
Yeah.
You're sitting on that sandbar. It's probably degrading, because those sandbars move rapidly
Mhm.
in the Caribbean. You know what I mean? So as waves have come in and moved and blah, 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 you're not sure if you're going to survive. That's the worst thing I could think of, Jay, is like, waves come in and you're just barely paddling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then as it comes out, you're back on the sound. Like, there's not coconuts and trees you can build a hut from and all these different kind of things. Then not to mention
carrying rum.
Not to mention, if they did give you that pistol and it had enough powder and one shot in it, if you went underwater, that pistol is useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horrible. No hope for life. Your only hope is the eventuality of death.
And 1 in a million shot that someone sees you.
Maybe.
Because normally you'd be dropped off in a place where the trade routes and like the routes would go, and then no one's really looking for you.
Why would they pick you up?
And then you get picked up by the Navy.
Yeah,
you're gonna get hung.
Right. So why would they even waste their time?
That is exactly.
Somebody put you there for a reason. Why would I want you?
Yeah.
So keep on sailing.
True.
That has just got to be like the slow death of days that would go through. So probably what would happen is you get so thirsty, you drink seawater, right?
Oh, that.
Yeah, and then you go mad.
And then you would go freaking crazy.
I can't drink seawater. I couldn't.
But I'm just saying, your body would be so thirsty.
You can't. Yeah, if you drink, if you, I can't remember the number, but if it's like if you drink a gallon of seawater, it's basically like you've only drank, I think it's a cup of water, because the amount of salt in that seawater just dries you out.
Oh, it'll kill you, man. That's why they don't want you to ever. You're never supposed to drink seawater if you're out there.
Anyways, it's salty.
I know that, but I'm just saying the madness of like what would happen, and then it's like now you're surrounded by. When the tide goes up, is a shark gonna come around and just take a bite out of your arm while you're just hanging out there? And then the sun is out there baking you all day, and with no one around. It's just like I just couldn't imagine like that,
Is this the full painting?
This is the full painting, yeah.
The full, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's a good
it
point.
wasn't just pirates that did this. The Royal Navy would do this as well.
Yeah.
There's a case where there was a not impressed. Impressed seaman, meaning they basically walked into the bar and said, "You're in the Navy now," and took him to the ship. He obviously didn't want to be there, wasn't doing a good job, and so the captain just dropped him on a island. It wasn't a sandbar. It was a little bit more impressive.
Press
But
gang.
yeah, press ganged. And so they dropped him there, and an American schooner actually was sailing by, picked him up, took him to Marblehead, Massachusetts, and the Royal Navy had a group come get him and did a what's it called? A court martial on him.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
pressed him out. But I mean, that's one of the better ways that get marooned get in.
2024 ain't so bad.
No, man. I just like I could just see them like eating sand. Like it just would get so bad for you.
Something.
You know, like you would cut off your fingers and toes and just start eating them just to see, you know, a little One Piece action there. If you didn't see it, sorry. But I just couldn't imagine. And the thing is about this as well is if you maroon somebody, you are not charged if you were caught for the death or murder of anyone.
Yeah.
So like
you're not directly involved.
That is one way that you could get out of like killing somebody without being charged for it or saying it was your responsibility. So you maroon them. So that's why this was a pretty popular way of like dumping people off.
It's just nasty.
I'm just saying. It's just crazy, man. Like then what? Like you show up at that island years later and you see the bones. You're like, oh, that's rough. Like
Jim,
when they
I forgot about Jim.
When they marooned Jack Sparrow, that was in my opinion, that was a healthy island.
Yeah.
You know, and not even talking about the rum that was found. That was
too.
that was a lot bigger where technically he probably could have
100%.
maybe survived because there was coconuts. There was, you know, maybe he'd figure out a way to catch fish, you know, and start a fire, boil the salt water. I don't know. He probably could have like survived maybe a little bit longer, but kind of like in the movie Castaway, you know.
Dude, you can boil salt water and then just like a still of the old days, use a coconut leaf to catch the steam and then drip it into a cup. Bam, you got fresh water right there. You know what I mean? There's fish everywhere. There's crabs that come up on the island. They don't taste very good, but you can eat them. Coconuts, coconut meat, all kinds of stuff.
I bet they taste pretty good after a day or two.
Oh, 100%. Tastes good after 20 minutes. Damn, I'm hungry.
I mean, there's a way to survive. Surviving on a sandbar is almost impossible.
Yeah.
It is almost impossible. There's no vegetation. There's no nothing. You have to deal with the tide. So your body your body's constantly in salt water. Then it dried out in the sun. It is just a horrific way to go. You know, just horrific.
Sand and endless blue. That's it.
I don't know.
That the hopelessness was probably the worst part. They're like, yeah, this is it. Now I have to wait 3 days while I starve to death. And
what would you use? So you guys mentioned boiling the salt water. It doesn't remove the salt from the water.
Steaming it?
You have to have some contraption to capture the vapor.
Yeah, use banana leaves.
If they have the leaves on the island, right? You got to have you got to have something. If you don't have anything like that,
you're not just gonna like breathe in the steam.
You're toast.
Yeah,
and then you have to have something to catch the water.
Right. I would use coconut shells or.
But some people probably
like, yeah, no problem. I can just do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, let's be honest.
You ever tried to open up a coconut?
I'm not. You probably wouldn't be able to. I've opened a buttload of coconuts. They are a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And beyond that, you have to have some way to start a fire.
Right.
And if you get a tropical storm that comes in or something like that, and maybe you
Goodbye
use the
fire.
powder, maybe you use the powder out of that one-shot pistol they get you to start one fire, you have to keep alive for the entire time you're trying to survive. You get a
also-
tropical storm that comes in with rain and stuff like that, it's gone.
It's over. And you
And
have to
you're
have
done.
something to burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much stuff on those islands that'll burn.
See, like someone like me that's not very educated in this type of stuff, yeah, I'd be dead quick.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'd probably start eating stuff that's probably bad for me, you know.
I ate the purple berries.
You know, stuff like that. Yeah.
The problem is most of that stuff, it's wet. Everything is wet.
Yeah.
So fires are tough because everything is wet.
I don't want to think about it.
But a lot of duff on the forest floors there. You can use that.
Anything else? Did we cover the main topics of like pirate torture?
I think we got
I
them
think
all.
we got 'em.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what? One of my fan favorites was super uncommon, but it was almost the same as sunning. Apparently, there were a few pirates that would do the same thing as sunning, but they couldn't afford to lose the guy, so they would stick him on a cage and put him on the front of the bowsprit. And they'd keep him there for a couple days. So as the ship is going through the ocean, you're hanging off the bow in a cage, rocking around as this thing is going for God knows how long. Same thing, burning in the sun, and then beyond that, the reflection from the water
Oh yeah.
is beaten back. So you're getting it from both angles. Horrible.
Some of the
And
honorable
depending on the storm, you're getting soaked too.
oh dude. Some of the honorable mentions is the bamboo torture, and most of this was when pirates were caught by either the government or anything. They would hang them in a public square. They would lock them in a cage alive and just let them die in front of everyone, slow and painful. The bamboo torture was awful because bamboo grows very rapidly in the Caribbean. And basically, they would cut the bamboo really low to the ground, and then they would tie the person there while the bamboo slowly grew through their body.
Oh.
They would do that They would do that in places where people could see. So a lot of this stuff was done in public view so that people would be like, hey, don't be a pirate. And yet, even with all these punishments, these tortures, and everything else in between, people still decided to break the law and do this. It's like,
Did y'all talk about the rat one?
no, that was more that wasn't really a pirate torture. That was more medieval. Like the medieval stuff is 10 times worse.
Oh yeah, it came up with my list of.
And the
Yeah.
Chinese were bad. Did you ever hear of the water drip?
The Chinese were horrible. Yes, the water drip would ensue madness, but they also did bamboo through the fingernails and things like that. And like some of the painful torture that the Chinese pirates would do. It just
I'm talking about not the water drip that landed on your
On your
forehead, the
forehead?
one that went in your mouth. And
no,
so
no.
it would slowly fill you up with water and you would bloat to the point where you would explode.
Oh my gosh.
You
Yeah,
can't
it's
just
horrible.
spit it out.
Kings, you can.
I mean, I think it's a valid question.
Dude
what's
had more
stopping people from just
testosterone back
turning
then.
your
Yeah,
head?
we definitely live in a, again, like what's happened in our culture recently is when the Puritans came in and the country began to change stuff here in America, we just looked at that kind of thing and we frowned upon it. But for years, from the beginning of time all the way into a certain point of time in America, like torture and these things were very common. So I guess growing up in a time of, hey, Dad, have you seen Billy? Yeah, his dad's getting hung in the corner there for stealing
Yeah.
some bread. He'll probably be able to play tomorrow. Just give him a day.
Oh my god!
Give him a day, to mourn for his pop, And then like the other thing too, when you read about certain people, this is the Pirate Channel, so we're kind of sticking around the golden age of pirate timeline. It just said people would get sick and die. We didn't know what they got sick of. We didn't know anything. They're just like, yeah, he was married, but his wife died because she got sick. It's like, well, what did she get sick of? I don't know. She got the fever and she died. Like, that's it.
Well, they had a lot of names for
fever.
The fever. Well, there's what's the fever? There's like 30 different things.
Syphilis.
Who knows what it was? Who knows what it was? But yeah, so it's like people just like they just died, They just died suddenly. And like I see the more gifted subs. We'll get to it. Yeah, they got yellow fever, they got bit by a mosquito, they died, they got whatever
Scarlet.
that tick, Lyme
Scarlet
disease,
fever,
all that stuff.
smallpox. That was a big one.
The plague went through, and just wiped out a whole generation of people. Like the fact that people probably got cholera and scurvy. Cholera was a big disease back then.
Yeah.
We don't get cholera now because the cure for cholera is drinking clean water. But how you get cholera is drinking water that's been infected with body waste. That's the best way I could say it. So
Cookie water.
yeah, so like you get cholera as you drank someone's poop. Pretty gross. Anyway, with that being said, we got 10 more souls.
Let's go.
Deacons. 10 more memberships to the channel. Also, if you are a member, you can go through our membership list and watch some of the old podcasts that we've done. Some of them were quite entertaining. Some of them were quite funny. Some were quite interesting.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Can you get this one, X-Wing?
Craig Morning for 10 says, true story. True story. I went without eating for 11 days, got real sick. Dead of winter in the Adirondack Mountains of New York. First thing I ate was an injured duck I found, broke its neck, and just started chewing. What?
I did hear you can eat raw poultry.
Was that
if it's
just
fresh?
Did we get lost snowboarding, or was this a reality TV show, or were we starting a YouTube channel? What were we doing?
Oh, you went there.
We're starting
I was more worried about eating the raw poultry.
I'm just wondering how you got lost out in 11 days in the Adirondacks.
Well, I'm glad you're good. Grand Potato for 5. I don't think I would want to be marooned on an island with coconuts. I would be afraid of Kamala falling out of the coconut tree. Thank you for the 5. And I can list my brother becomes a member of the channel. Thank you. And you killed me.
I grew up in a middle class family.
I am just glad somebody woke up one day and said, all these things that we do to people as punishment, maybe they're not such a good idea.
We should stop doing that as humans.
Let's start getting away from this stuff. I don't think it's very kind.
Yeah.
Man, if people from the pirate timeline saw the people here, some of the men today, they would be like, y'all, this is the weakest group of people I have ever seen.
What happens when you get caught? They put you in a safe place and feed you 3 meals a day.
Yeah, and you can watch television.
You get a job and an education, get paid,
shower. Wow. It's Me becomes a member.
Toilet?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, here's a follow-up. Thank you. It's Me. There you go, X-Wing.
Oh, there you go. I was doing a primitive camp experiment that happened after I'd already been out there for almost a year. Damn. I hope you documented all that. I'd love to watch some videos.
That's pretty wild, Craig. Thanks for being generous, brother. And Skits 3D has also become a member of the channel. Again, you get awesome emojis, and you can go back and watch the other podcasts. Says we'll leave this podcast live, but when the new one comes, we flip it only to members. So, also, History of Pirates is also on Spotify and Apple. You could find it in the link tree. So if you want to listen to some of the videos that we've already created for this channel that talk about the other pirates, they're all there for you to listen and enjoy. And one of them, the one about Mary Read on Spotify, has exploded, man. So
Really?
yeah, and that wasn't. I don't even think that was one of my better ones, but that it for some reason it's exploded over there on Spotify with 200,000 listens plus on Spotify. The other ones are running about like 6,000 to 7,000 listens, which is more than here on YouTube.
Great.
So
Awesome.
yeah, Apple doesn't really give you numbers like that, but it's there for you as well. Dirty Knickers for 2. Did pirates wash their clothes?
Not often.
I mean, if you got splashed with ocean water,
I was gonna
rain,
say
They got wet a
That'd be
lot,
it.
so I
cleaned
think
you up a
it was-
little bit. Good enough.
Yeah, it's
If
probably
you've
the
ever
idea that.
soaked your
Well,
clothes in salt
they're
water, it's
trying.
not really an appropriate way to wash your clothes. It's horrible.
I mean, they weren't trying to make a fashion statement, but
Yeah.
they got work to do.
Pretty wild. Let's go, Jay. Where are we going? Adam becomes a member of the channel. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think that brings us to 270, Commodore.
Wow.
Jimmy Gomez says, could you do a series about river pirates in America?
I know.
Yeah, so
that'd be
the next
cool.
few videos, I'm gonna finish up the top 10, hopefully by the end of the year. Been doing like top 10 facts about different pirates, and then after that, we'll definitely take suggestions on how we can, some of the stuff that you want to see. So sounds good. Crimson Cyborg over on Facebook, I see you. But yeah, how did pirates get fresh water? Was it rain? They actually brought it in barrels for the most part.
And then they mixed it with rum to keep the bacteria down, because if they just left the fresh water by itself, it would scum over and get disgusting. And they found out if they dropped rum in it, it would keep it clean. And that's how you got grog.
Clemson for 10 says this panel over Mazza.
It's not saying
true.
much. Thank you, Clemson.
I appreciate the
Love you, Maza.
Woo. Jay, if you ever set up a P.O. box, I could send him some stuff.
Crimean pirates.
More time. I keep forgetting, but you guys constantly remind me. Once I get back from San Antonio. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. That's our show for this evening.
Let's go.
Some of us might go and go let Wicked speak. She spoke early and often.
yeah, I had a lot to say. What?
She also got more dressed up than all of us for this. I appreciate
always
the
do.
dedication. She painted her nails and her teeth black.
Teeth aren't black.
What?
She's like, shut your mouth.
Oh, there it is. Last thing, again, I've been saying this the entire show. If you guys would do us a huge favor and head on over to daughtersrevenge.com and sign up for all the latest updates on the Vindicta Daughter's Revenge book that will be coming out next year. You won't be sorry. You'll be the first to know, and you'll be the first one that will get access to certain things that once they're gone forever. So do us a favor and sign up today. We're going to be pushing that.
No
for the next few
spam.
months. Yeah, you won't get any spam. You probably won't even get your first email till next year anyway. I want to thank everybody who watched this over on Twitter. That's pretty crazy that we had 300 plus people watching on Twitter.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They got to start adding like super chats over there. And also over there on Facebook, we had almost 20 people watching on Facebook. That's pretty sick. Thank you. And over here on YouTube, we have 265 people in the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you
all
for
the
being
love,
here, hanging out with us.
and I appreciate it. Any last words from anyone?
Sorry,
What
I
was your
late.
favorite? What was your favorite torture, Wicked? Since they want to hear from you.
My favorite? Well, I definitely would just love the sunning. Nice and tan.
Women want to tan.
She's like, I do that in Tampa every weekend. What are you talking about?
It's not even hard.
Yeah, my wife would actually love that. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go, tanning. The problem is you'd be butt naked, so I don't know. if
No
you'd
one's
like that.
around, so it's fine. No one can see
No
me.
tan lines.
Yeah.
Except for the bars.
So just random.
Oh, it'd be like
lines.
Yeah.
lines.
Oh my gosh.
Pinstriped.
Pretty wild. Anyway,
New style.
that's it. That's it, y'all. Y'all have a great one, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for being a first mate and listening to the Patches and Rum podcast. Now get back to your station or I'll send you to Davy Jones' locker.